The Starfall Tavern buzzed with the usual Friday night crowd, a mixture of weary miners, off-duty pilots, and the occasional drifter passing through Nova Station. Eris Kane sat at the bar, nursing her third synthetic whiskey. Fingers still stained with engine grease from a 12-hour shift fixing transport ships. Another impossible repair today, she told the bartender, who barely nodded as he mixed colorful drinks for a group of tourists. The propulsion system was fused beyond recognition, but I got it running again. Sometimes, I think I could fix anything in the galaxy if given the chance. A holographic news broadcast flickered above the bar, reporting on the mysterious disappearance of research vessels near the Veil Nebula. Eris found herself speaking louder than intended, the whiskey loosening her tongue. You know what? I bet it's the ancient Kronos artifacts everyone's been whispering about. Those ships probably found something they shouldn't have, she said, gesturing with her glass. Give me a decent ship and I could find out what's really happening out there. A few patrons chuckled, used to Eris's tipsy boasts. She was known throughout the station as a brilliant mechanic, but also a dreamer who'd never left the safety of Nova's orbit. And how exactly would you navigate the Veil's radiation fields? A smooth voice asked from behind her. Eris swiveled on her stool to find herself face to face with the most striking woman she'd ever seen. Tall and lithe, with skin the color of twilight, a deep, iridescent purple that seemed to shimmer in the tavern's dim lighting. The stranger's eyes were an unsettling silver, lacking pupils entirely, yet somehow conveying amusement. Double quotes. Eris stammered, suddenly aware of her disheveled appearance. Specialized shielding? Maybe a hybrid deflection system? The purple-skinned woman's lips curved into a smile. She wore a sleek jacket that hugged her form, with what appeared to be mechanical components integrated into the fabric. Not a spacesuit exactly, but something far more advanced. Interesting theory. Most would suggest avoiding the radiation altogether. She slid onto the stool beside Eris. I'm Zara, and I happen to have a ship that could use someone with your unique approach to problems. Eris blinked, certain she was being mocked. Look, I was just talking. Everyone knows I'm station-bound. My contract can be bought out, Zara interrupted, placing a small glowing crystal on the bar. This should cover your remaining obligation to Nova Corporation. There's plenty left over for supplies. The bartender's eyes widened at the crystal. That's pure stellarite. Worth more than this entire station level. Eris stared at the alien woman. Why me? You don't even know me. Zara leaned closer, her scent like nothing Eris had encountered, something like ozone and exotic flowers. Because you just announced to everyone that you could fix anything in the galaxy. And where I'm going, I'll need exactly that skill. And where exactly are you going? Eris asked, curiosity overcoming caution. To find out what happened to those ships, Zara replied, and perhaps recover something that belonged to my people long before humans knew the stars existed. Eris swallowed hard. This was everything she'd dreamed of but never dared pursue. So Zara said, extending her hand, 5 slender fingers splayed in a very human gesture, despite her alien appearance. Are you in? The celestial drift hummed beneath Eris's boots as she followed Zara through narrow corridors lined with technology she'd never seen before. The ship was small, but elegant, with flowing lines that suggested it was grown rather than built. This isn't standard Federation design, Eris noted, running her fingers along a wall that seemed to pulse with faint light at her touch. I've never seen alloys that respond like this. Zara glanced back, silver eyes gleaming in the ship's ambient lighting. That's because it isn't an alloy. The hull is semi-organic. It's cultivated from stellar coral, found only in the deepest reaches of the Andromeda Galaxy. Stellar coral? Eris stopped, mouth agape. That's just a myth. To humans, perhaps. Zara gestured toward the bridge ahead. My people, the Lumidari, have been spacefaring for millennia longer than yours. What humans consider legends, we consider history. The bridge opened before them, a seamless oval chamber with no visible controls. It's just curved surfaces that glowed with soft blue light. Zara placed her palm against the central console. The ship trembled as if awakening. "We launch in 10 minutes, she said. "Nova Station has approved our departure vector." Eris crossed her arms. "You still haven't told me exactly what we're looking for?" "A relic. A beacon of sorts." Zara's expression tightened. "It was stolen from my world centuries ago, and now it's been activated somewhere in the Veil. Those missing ships found it. And I suspect they're not missing but hiding. The celestial drift detached from Nova Station with barely a shudder, sliding into the starlit void with impossible grace." Eris watched through the view screen as her home for the past 7 years became a glittering speck against the blackness. "You'll need to help me calibrate the sensors once we approach the nebula," Zara said, interrupting Eris's thoughts. "Your expertise with equipment modification will be invaluable." As the ship accelerated to jump speed, Eris studied her new companion. Zara moved with fluid precision, her purple skin catching the light in mesmerizing patterns. Despite her alien appearance, there was something hauntingly familiar about her. The Luminary Eris ventured, "I thought your kind were isolationists. Why are you alone out here?" Something flashed across Zara's face, pain, perhaps, or anger. "I was exiled. My fascination with humans was considered ... inappropriate. So I'm not just helping you find a relic. I'm helping an outcast." Zara's gaze met hers, intense and unblinking. "Does that change your decision?" The ship lurched suddenly, alarms blaring. The view screen showed a massive energy distortion directly ahead. Temporal rift. Zara shouted, her hands dancing across the console. "Hold on." Eris grabbed onto the nearest support as the ship twisted through space-time, the hull groaning under impossible stress. When the chaos subsided, the view screen showed not the expected starfield, but a vast nebula swirling with purple and blue energy storms. "That's impossible," Eris whispered. "The Veil is 3 days' journey from Nova." Zara stood rigid, her silver eyes wide. "The beacon. It's pulling us in." As the celestial drift drifted toward the heart of the nebula, Eris noticed a change in her companion. Faint patterns of light rippled beneath Zara's purple skin, forming intricate symbols that pulsed in rhythm with the nebula's storms. "Zara," Eris said cautiously, "what aren't you telling me about this relic?" Zara turned to her, the glowing patterns intensifying. "It's not just a beacon," she admitted. "It's the heart of my people. And someone is using it to tear open the fabric of reality." The heart of the Veil Nebula churned with energy storms as the celestial drift navigated. Through swirling clouds of cosmic dust, Eris hunched over a makeshift console, rewiring sensor arrays to penetrate the dense radiation fields. "There," she said, wiping sweat from her brow. "We should be able to detect energy signatures now." "Even through this chaos?" Zara nodded, her attention fixed on piloting the ship. The glowing patterns beneath her purple skin had grown more pronounced, pulsing in time with unseen forces. "Good, we're getting close." The modified sensors pinged, highlighting a structure suspended within the nebula's heart, a massive ring-shaped station, partially hidden by energy distortions. "Is that ... human design?" Eris squinted at the readout. "It looks like Federation architecture, but warped somehow." "It was human," Zara confirmed grimly. "Now it's something else. The beacon is reshaping it, just as it reshapes everything it touches." As they approached the station, shadows darted across their pathships, moving with impossible agility, their hulls reflecting no light. "Shadow vessels," Zara hissed, executing a sharp, evasive maneuver. "They guard the beacon. We can't outrun them. We need to hide." Eris pointed to a dense cloud of ionized gas. "There. The radiation should mask our signature." The celestial drift dived into the swirling mass, its organic hull adapting to the hostile environment. Outside, the shadow vessels prowled, searching but unable to detect them. In the relative safety of their hiding place, Zara's composure finally cracked. She slumped in her seat, the glowing patterns beneath her skin flickering erratically. "The proximity to the beacon ... double quotes," she gasped. "It affects me more than I anticipated." Eris moved to her side, hesitantly placing a hand on Zara's shoulder. The alien skin was feverishly warm, sensation sending a tingling up Eris's arm. "Tell me what's happening," Eris demanded softly. "All of it." Zara looked up, silver eyes now swirling with motes of blue light. "My people created the beacon as a way to communicate across vast distances, but it became more a repository of our collective consciousness, our memories, our very essence. And someone stole it? A human expedition 50 years ago? They thought it was a power source." Zara laughed bitterly. "They were right in a way, but they couldn't control it. Now it's awakened, calling to any Luminary within reach. Calling to you," Eris realized. "That's why you were near Nova Station." A proximity alarm blared. One of the shadow vessels had detected them despite the radiation cover. "It's coming right for us," Eris shouted. Zara straightened, the patterns on her skin now blazing. She placed both hands on the ship's console, and the celestial drift responded instantly, not just as a vessel, but as an extension of her will. "Hold on," she warned, her voice resonating with newfound power. The ship surged forward, directly toward the approaching shadow vessel. At the last possible moment, the drift twisted in an impossible maneuver, passing through a gap in the enemy's defenses. Eris watched in awe as Zara's connection with the ship manifested physically tendrils of energy linking her to the controls, the hull, every system responding to her thoughts. "You're one with the ship," Eris whispered. "Is this what the Luminary can do?" "Only in proximity to the beacon," Zara replied, her concentration unwavering as she guided them through the nebula's treacherous currents. "And only those of us specifically attuned to it." They emerged from the cloud, now much closer to the transformed station. From this distance, Eris could see figures moving within human shapes, but with an unsettling fluidity to their movements. The missing researchers, she guessed. "They've been changed by the beacon." Zara nodded grimly. "Merged with it, becoming its guardians. We need to dock without being detected, find the beacon's core, shut it down before the transformation spreads." "And how exactly do we do that?" Eris asked. Zara turned to her, eyes gleaming with intensity. "Together. Your mechanical ingenuity and my connection to the beacon, neither of us could do this alone." For the first time since leaving Nova Station, Eris felt a surge of something beyond curiosity or adventure, a connection to this mysterious alien woman who had chosen her. Of all people, as a partner in this impossible mission, together. Then she agreed, her hand finding Zara's, their fingers interlaced. Human and alien, yet fitting perfectly together. The abandoned maintenance shaft creaked and groaned as Eris and Zara crawled through the narrow passage. They had managed to dock the celestial drift at a forgotten emergency airlock. Avoiding the transformed researchers patrolling the station's main corridors, "The energy readings are strongest to levels down," Eris whispered, checking the makeshift scanner she'd assembled from spare parts. "But these readings don't make sense. It's like the beacon exists in multiple places simultaneously." Zara nodded, her silver eyes now constantly swirling with blue light. "That's its nature. It exists partially in another dimension, which is why my people could use it to communicate across vast distances." A violent tremor shook the station, sending them both tumbling against the wall. Zara winced in pain as her shoulder hit a protruding pipe. "The station's structural integrity is failing," Eris said, helping Zara to her feet. "Whatever the beacon is doing, it's tearing this place apart." They reached a junction where the shaft opened into what had once been a research laboratory. Now it was transformed walls rippling with strange energies. Equipment fused into organic-looking configurations that pulsed with life. "We need to move quickly," Zara said, her voice strained. "I can feel the beacon pulling at me, trying to merge me with it like the others." Eris cast a worried glance at her companion. The glowing patterns beneath Zara's purple skin had spread, now covering most of her visible body. "Can you resist it?" "For now," Zara attempted a reassuring smile. "My exile gave me practice in resistance." They made their way through corridors that twisted in impossible geometries, avoiding the shambling figures that had once been human researchers. Occasionally, one would turn toward them, sensing Zara's connection to the beacon. But she would close her eyes in concentration and somehow divert their attention. "How are you doing that?" Eris asked after they narrowly avoided a patrol. "I'm projecting thoughts through the beacon's network," Zara explained, "making us uninteresting to them. But it's draining me." The truth of her words was evident in her labored breathing and the sweat beading on her forehead. Eris found herself reaching for Zara's hand more often, offering silent support that seemed to strengthen the alien woman. A massive energy surge rocked the station again, more violent than before. Emergency bulkheads slammed down around them, sealing them in a small maintenance room as warning klaxons blared. "We're trapped," Eris realized, examining the sealed exits, "and the oxygen systems are failing." Zara collapsed against a wall, the exertion finally overwhelming her. The patterns on her skin fluctuated wildly, brightening then dimming in irregular pulses. "Zara." Eris rushed to her side, cradling the alien woman's head in her lap. "Stay with me. We'll find another way out." "No time," Zara whispered, her silver blue eyes fixing on Eris with sudden clarity. "But there's another option. The beacon eye can use our proximity to channel its energy. Create a temporary safe bubble around us until the storm passes." "Will that hurt you?" Eris asked, concern evident in her voice. "Yes." Zara's honesty was brutal. "But the alternative is worse." Without waiting for further discussion, Zara placed her palm against Eris's cheek. The touch sent a shock of energy through both of them, the glowing patterns from Zara's skin briefly transferring to Eris's, before settling into a synchronized rhythm. "What are you doing?" Eris gasped, feeling a strange warmth spreading through her body. "Creating a connection," Zara explained, her voice now echoing slightly, as if coming from multiple sources. "Drawing strength from you to channel the beacon's power safely." The air around them began to shimmer as energy coalesced, forming a protective bubble that pushed back the toxic atmosphere now filling the room. Inside their sanctuary, time seemed to slow. "This is ... double quotes. Eris struggled to find words for the sensation of being connected to Zara, feeling the alien's consciousness brushing against her own. "Intimate. Among my people, this is the deepest form of trust," Zara said softly. "To share energy is to share soul." Their faces were close now, breath mingling in the small space. Eris felt drawn to Zara in a way that transcended the physical pull that resonated. "At the quantum level, I've never felt anything like this," Eris admitted, her fingers tracing the glowing patterns on Zara's arm. "Nor have I," Zara replied, "especially not with a human." The storm outside their bubble raged, but within, a different kind of energy built between them. When their lips finally met, the glowing patterns flared brilliantly, enveloping them both in light that pulsed with the rhythm of their synchronized hearts. The final approach to the beacon's chamber was silent and tense. After the storm had passed, Eris and Zara had emerged from their protective bubble, changed more aware of each other, more in sync. The connection Zara had forged remained, a subtle current of energy flowing between them, allowing them to communicate with barely a glance. There, Zara pointed to a massive door at the end of the corridor. Unlike the rest of the station, it appeared untouched by the beacon's transformative energy-pristine metal, etched with warning symbols in a dozen languages. They tried to contain it, Eris realized. The researchers knew something was wrong and sealed it away. But they couldn't escape its influence, Zara added grimly. No physical barrier can fully block the beacon's reach. Eris examined the door's locking mechanism, her mind already racing through possible bypass methods. "I can get us in, but we'll need a distraction. The transformed researchers are converging on this position. I can feel them through our connection." Zara nodded, the patterns on her skin pulsing with renewed intensity. "I'll create an energy surge to Dex up. It should draw them away temporarily." While Zara closed her eyes in concentration, channeling energy through her connection to the beacon, Eris worked on the door. Her fingers moved with practiced precision, rewiring circuits and rerouting power flows. The newly formed bond with Zara seemed to enhance her abilities, giving her insights into the technology that she wouldn't normally have. "Got it," she announced as the massive door began to slide open. "But whatever you're doing, It's working too well. The station's power grid is fluctuating wildly. Zara opened her eyes, now glowing bright blue. It's not just me. The beacon senses our presence. It knows why we're here. They stepped into a cavernous chamber, defied the station's external dimensions, stretching impossibly far in all directions. At its center hovered a crystalline structure about the size of a human heart, pulsing with energy that rippled outward in waves. Suspended around it were dozens of transformed researchers, their bodies partially transparent, merged with the energy field. Can we save them? Eris asked, though she already suspected the answer. Zara shook her head sadly. They're too far gone. Their consciousness has been absorbed into the beacon's matrix. As they approached the center of the chamber, the transformed figures turned as one, their eyes fixing on the intruders. But instead of attacking, they parted, forming a path to the beacon. It wants us to approach, Zara said, her voice tight with tension. It recognizes me as Luminari. The beacon pulsed brighter as they drew near. Its crystalline structure rotating to reveal facets that reflected their images in distorted ways, showing possible futures. Alternate paths. How do we shut it down? Eris asked, tearing her gaze away from a reflection that showed her and Zara standing together on a world she didn't recognize. We don't, Zara replied, surprising Eris. Not completely. The beacon is alive in its way. Destroying it would kill not just these transformed humans, but would echo back to my homeworld, affecting all Luminari. Then what's the plan? Zara reached for Eris's hand, their fingers intertwining. We reset it. Return it to its original purpose. But I need your help. Your human perspective combined with my Luminari knowledge. Understanding dawned on Eris. That's why you chose me. Not just for my mechanical skills, but because you needed a human partner to rebalance the beacon after its corruption by human searchers. Yes, Zara's silver blue eyes met hers. But I didn't expect to find someone who would become so much more than a technical assistant. Together, they reached for the beacon. The moment they touched its crystalline surface, energy surged through them both. Eris felt her consciousness expanding, merging partially with Zara's, then extending outward to touch the minds of the transformed researchers. And beyond two distant stars where other Luminari sensed the change occurring. Through their combined will, they rewrote the beacon's purpose not as a tool of transformation or power, but as the bridge between species it was meant to be. The station around them began to stabilize, the impossible geometries resolving into normal space. The transformed researchers remained changed, but the wildness left their eyes as the beacon released its hold on their minds. They would never be fully human again, but neither would they be mindless guardians. As the energy subsided, Eris found herself still holding Zara's hand, both of them kneeling on the chamber floor. The beacon now hovered peacefully above them, its light steady rather than pulsing. Did we do it? Eris asked, her voice hoarse. Zara nodded, the patterns on her skin now calm and orderly. It's done. The beacon is reset, its connection to my people restored. She paused, looking at Eris with an expression of wonder. But something else has changed too. Eris said simply. Yes. Zara touched Eris's cheek, where faint traces of Luminari patterns still glowed beneath her human skin. The connection we formed, it's permanent. Part of you is now Luminari, and part of me is human. Eris smiled, covering Zara's hand with her own. So where do we go from here? Back to your people. My exile was because I believed humans and Luminari could work together, learn from each other, Zara said. Now we're living proof. But I don't think either of our peoples are ready for what we represent. The celestial drift waited at the docking port, humming with renewed energy after the beacon's restoration. As they boarded, Eris looked back at the station. A beacon of another kind of symbol of what could happen when different species truly connected. So, not home, Eris said, settling into the co-pilot's seat. Where then? Zara smiled, the first full, unguarded expression Eris had seen from her. The universe is vast, and we have a ship that can take us anywhere. There are more relics to find, more mysteries to solve, and more connections to make, Eris added, returning the smile. As the celestial drift disengaged from the station and turned toward open space, Eris felt a sense of anticipation unlike anything in her previous life. With Zara beside her and their unique bond linking them, the journey ahead promised to be extraordinary. "So," Eris said, echoing Zara's first question to her in the Starfall Tavern, "where to next?" Zara's eyes sparkled, both alien and familiar at once. "Everywhere." The ship accelerated into the starfield. Leaving the nebula behind as they headed toward new horizons, their story just beginning.